All right, this is Ace with RockRevolt magazine. I am here with John Moyer, currently of Art of Anarchy. How are you doing today, bud?
Hi, Ace. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right, and I greatly appreciate your time. And like I said, currently of Art of Anarchy because, man, you don't stop. You're like the Energizer Bunny.
Well, I guess, I'm most well known for being the basis of Disturbed.
Right.
And we just had an amazing run, a 14-month album cycle where we toured the world. We ended the tour recently with a 5-week run in Europe. And then our last two shows, which weren't that long ago, I'll tell you what they were in. They were in Moscow and St. Petersburg, were two places I'd never been to before.
Nice.
And we had two sold-out shows there. And big rooms, too. Big rooms. So just a wonderful experience overall. It was a great way to end the tour. And let's see, we flew home. Let me get the dates right here. We flew home just a couple of weeks ago. And so, here I am, I'm in New York City now. Right. And we're doing rehearsals for Art of Anarchy. And we have a tour coming up in April. In promotion of our new record, which just dropped on the 24th. So I think I landed the 17th. The record dropped on the 24th, and I'm already here doing rehearsals.
Right.
So you're right. I don't stop.
No, absolutely not, man. That's when I saw you, I was like, man, dude, this guy's just all over the place. I was fortunate enough to, last time I seen Disturbed was at the Chicago Open Air last July, which was a killer festival.
Oh man, that was so much fun. That whole festival was amazing. The entire weekend was great.
Oh, it was. It was so good. Absolutely. Like you said, man, Wednesday, April 3rd, you're hitting the road again, starting up in Amityville, New York, going out with another set of great musicians, man. I mean, you're just, no matter where you're at, you're surrounded by talent. There is just no shortage of that in your life right now.
I'm very fortunate to, Art of Anarchy started as a project a couple years ago during Disturbed's hiatus, where we recorded a record with the late Scott Weiland.
Yeah.
We shot a couple videos, recorded a record, didn't end up doing any shows, and then Weiland passed away. And I kind of thought that was kind of it for Art of Anarchy, but our manager, he's just felt that we had something, and he didn't want to just drift away, and he had it in his head that Scott Stapp would be a great replacement, or I should say a great, addition to the band. He's hardly a replacement of anybody. He's amazing and stands on his own. So, Scott Stapp with Creed. At the time, he, this was almost 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago when we were talking about getting Scott Stapp in the band, and, as you recall, it wasn't long before that he had a very public meltdown,
right?
So I was a little I think we were all a little on the fence about it. We didn't want to put ourselves in a situation where we're with somebody who's volatile, who could tank the band or whatever. So we went back and forth with Scott. He seemed interested. We met with him. He had been sober about a year at that point, and he was just rock solid. And right now he's 2 years, 4 months, and 29 days sober.
Nice.
So he's been sticking to it. He's a great guy. He and I get along real well. We're both from the South. We both have, similar styles to, to our personalities. So we get along great. And so he joined the band, and the goal one was to reinvent who we were. So we started writing as a group. We started figuring out, what is this band about? It's a metal band. It's a rock band. How's this going to work with Scott on vocals? And, we knew we had to write stuff that he would get excited about. So, it was tough going. We were in Staten Island. We're, rehearsing in the basement. John Voda, the guitar player, we were rehearsing in his basement in Staten Island. And Stapp is just sitting on the couch. The rest of us, which includes John Voda, his twin brother Vince Voda, and then Bumblefoot, who's the other guitar player, and everyone knows him from obviously being an amazing solo artist himself. He played for years and years with Guns N' Roses, and he's just a top-notch musician and producer on his own. So we're sitting there and we're just hacking out ideas, and it was tough at first. It was hard to get on the same page. And then we had the breakthrough with the song The Madness, which ended up being our first single off the record. That was the first song we wrote as a group. And you could feel the energy in the room. It was like, oh my God, we're onto something. Here it is. We're finally starting to figure out what this band's about. So we wrote The Madness, a song called No Surrender, and a song called Won't Let You Down. They're all on the record. And between those three songs, it pretty much defined, you know, the direction of the band. We felt we finally had an identity. It's like, okay, here we go. This is what this band's about. And then the rest of it just sort of came into play. We just, you know, kept writing and recording, and then during this time now, I'm back out on the road with Disturbed. Right. During my breaks, my Disturbed breaks, I would come back to New York to do some recording, to do some writing, and I'd go back out with Disturbed. And then there was a point even where I was finishing bass lines from the road, you know, like, because Bumblefoot produced the record. So he would, you know, have like songs, you know, pretty much done and needing bass lines, and he'd send them to me on the road. I had my little recording gear with me. I'd record bass lines in the hotel room, send them back to him, and that's how we ended up finishing the record. And that's why within weeks after being done with Disturbed, I'm able to put out another record with another band and start touring again.
Right, I was saying it's probably be hard to go back and forth to New York, especially when you're over in Europe, you know, to finish those lines.
Right.
And just to touch on one thing real quick, man, that I found was very important, the fact that you could tell me to the day of Scott Stapp's sobriety tells me how important it is to him, how important it is to the people around him and his support system, because just the fact that you can tell me to the day is amazing, man. That means a lot. It means a lot to him, apparently, and to all of you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's key for his health and for this band's health. You know, the only one who really drinks all in the band is me. Bumblefoot doesn't drink at all, hardly ever, and the twins don't drink either. And, you know, they don't smoke cigarettes, they don't do nothing. I mean, it's a clean living environment here all the way around. So, you know, we have it's going to be a dry tour as far as, you know, the bus is concerned,
right.
Backstage, all that. You know, there's you know, no reason to have anything like that. You know, when everyone else is just, you know, living a sober lifestyle. So when I'm with Scott and, you know, we're together, he and I are kind of workout buddies. So we get up in the mornings, we do, you know, we hit the gym together, and then that's kind of how we start our day, and it goes from there.
That's awesome, man. That's great. I mean, you know, it shows your appreciation for each other and the love and respect you guys have for each other, you know, to be able to, you know, put those different things, you know, like I'm with you, man. I like to have a few drinks every once in a while. But when you're in a position like that, man, you got to step up for your brother and help support each other. And I mean, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, so moving forward, you know, we're the record, like I said, came out the 24th. We have a single at radio called The Madness. And then yesterday we shot a video for the next upcoming single, which is it's going to be a song called Echo of the Scream. So we're moving forward, you know, and you know, we're hoping to get out there, book more dates this summer, and do more touring.
Right, and The Madness is catching a little bit of buzz over on Octane. I heard that on Test Drive earlier this week, riding around on Sirius. That was,
that's great, man.
Yeah, that was one of the first glimpses I had of that song. I was like, oh, wait, man, I got to hear this. You know, I actually was pulling into my driveway and stopped and sat there and just listened to it so I could, you know, get a sense of it, man, and it's great. Scott Stapp's he's got one of those voices, man. That's one thing you've been lucky to work with is you've worked with 3 different individuals, you know, Maine, you know, with, you know, Scott Weiland, with Scott Stapp, and of course with David Draymond, guys that just have these unique, you know, voices that are style to themselves, you know, Draymond being powerful, Scott Stapp being powerful, Weiland just having that ability to adapt and adjust to the song. I mean, the voices, man, and just like Scott, everybody hears that and knows, damn, that's Scott Stapp. What is this?
Yeah,
I think that helps you guys a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. His voice has that unique, very identifiable character. You know, and then I was going to say, to add to that, you know, I about a year and a half ago, I also recorded with Jeff Tate of Queensryche, and I recorded his new project, which is called Operation Mindcrime.
Right, yeah.
And I did. He's about to release a second record. I think he just released a second record, and I played on both those records.
Yeah, he was just here.
With him.
He was just here in Kansas City this weekend, I think, this last weekend, yeah.
Yep, so there you go. That's another amazing, iconic singer that I've had, the pleasure and who's powerful, and that I've had the honor to play with and create with, and be in a band with. So yeah, I've struck gold when it comes to working with great musicians and great singers. The thing with Scott, though, is one of the things that we have been very conscious of, and it's difficult to do, is to not sound like a Creed 2,
right?
Or and it's he's going to sound like he's going to sound,
right.
And so that's a big part of a band's sound is the singer. So trying to create music that's comfortable for him to sing, that he gets inspired by, and then not sound like we're writing a Creed song, is very important to us. And I feel like we've done it. In a lot of ways, he's singing in a different key. Admittedly, he even says so. He goes, yeah. I sing a lot higher a register with Art of Anarchy. He goes, it's a lot more dynamic than the Creed stuff. He says, because he says when he does the Creed stuff, it's more on a solo run. It's a little more laid back,
right?
And he has more space in the singing. And he says, Art of Anarchy is a little more aggressive, a lot more aggressive, I think.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is with the tempo of the madness, the style of that song is a lot faster. It's a lot more upfront and forward than any of his other stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's a conscious effort on all our parts to make sure and to bring something new to the table. I'm obviously I've had years and years of doing Disturbed stuff, but when I play in Art of Anarchy, I try not to use a pick. I try to just do finger style, and then that alone is a different approach to the instrument and the way I play, and even the way I write.
Right.
So I think that for me, that's sort of my way of getting outside of my own box, and of course Bumblefoot can just do anything.
Right.
he's
right.
an amazing player, chameleon, whatever you want to call him. So. That's part of it for us, is to try to blaze new trails.
Yeah, and you're probably more of maybe standard tuning with Art of Anarchy than you would be with Disturbed, than dropping down a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I would say a lot more lower tunings with Disturbed. We are a little bit up with Art of Anarchy. So yeah, there is that, and some of the songs we write it in keys that are not necessarily the traditional key that most rock and metal bands use.
Right. Now, I mean, beside the fact that you probably, would like a little rest, like a little home time, we're only getting you guys for a month, man. A little East Coast and a little North Midwest. When, what's up with that? Just the month of April.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, we're having to talk about that today. Ideally, we would have been doing the spring festivals and that kind of stuff. So, that's just a thing. We're all available. We're trying to work. It's just a matter of connecting the dots sometimes,
right.
And getting on board. I don't book the shows. We got a booking agent who does it. So
sure.
A lot of it is just is things that are a little out of my hand, and so, management and the booking agent and the label are all trying to get on board. I agree with you 100%. We should be out there. We should be working. Now's the time. At least we got this run coming up. And we've got other stuff in the works. But yeah, the truth is that, even after this run is done, I could use a little home time.
Right.
I got a son. I'm okay with going home and, being home for half the summer is not going to hurt my feelings. I'm going to be.
You've earned it, man. You've earned it. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean, Art of Anarchy is definitely going to be touring during the summer and into, fall and winter and beyond. But, we're building it. It's a process. And I don't think we feel like going out and just playing any show that's available to us. I feel like, we're trying to be a little more choosy about when and where we play and with whom and the reasons we do it.
Right.
So, and we can afford to do that. We're a bit more seasoned musicians. There's a bit of a fan base built into, who we are already with
right.
Stapp and Bumblefoot and myself. So, and it's just got to make sense. We're a new band, but we're not a band that's going to necessarily jump in a van and go, just do like, a 15-city run, just off the cuff. It's got to be well planned out and it's got to make sense.
Right, and that's another thing. It was all you guys coming from being seasoned vets in the industry. What's it like, like you said, building a new band in today's music industry, because today's music industry is way different from when Disturbed started, from when Creed started, from when Bumblefoot was doing his thing back in the day, even when he jumped on with Guns N' Roses. It's a whole different beast. It's more independent than it is anything nowadays. So what's it like for you guys to try to build that?
Well, I'll tell you this. If I was a baby band, if I was a new, young, up-and-comer band, I don't know. It's way tougher for those guys.
Yeah.
You know, for us, you know, like I said, for me and Scott and guys who, you know, have a little bit more of a history, it's definitely been a little bit easier than it would be, but it's still tough. It's a new band. We've got to get the word out. And that's the biggest thing, is just the awareness factor. You think it'd be easy with social media and all these things, but it's almost like it's harder because there's so much information out there
Right.
that it's an overload. And, you know, it's not like it used to be where you had these, you know, 3 or 4 sources of music, you know, information.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever it was, whether it was MTV or whether it was your local radio station or the magazines, you know, the Metal Edge and the Circus magazines and all that.
Right.
You know, most of that stuff is secondary, tertiary. I mean, radio stations for sure in play. MTV doesn't do music. Magazines don't sell like they used to. In fact, a lot of them have gone under,
Right.
or they've become an online thing. And there's so many more outlets than there used to be. As you well know, that's your business.
Absolutely.
So, you know, getting these kind of interviews with guys like you is key, getting the word out. But it's a challenge because it's like there's so many more avenues. It's so much harder to get people's attention. And there's so much music out there. It's like people get bombarded, you know, and then on top of it all, they expect it for free. You know, that's the new expectation, is that, you know, no one pays for CDs, no one pays for these things, so it's like the revenue streams dry up, and when you don't have money to help promote or to tour or to do these things, it adds on to the whole thing. So yeah, it's just a multitude of changes that have happened in the music industry over the last 20 years, and it's made it super difficult, especially for very, very young bands. Bands like us, we do get a little bit of a head start. I see it already. You know, as the new term now is metrics. I see our metrics doing way better than a lot of other bands that have been doing it for 2 or 3 years. You know, out of the gate, we're already getting attention.
Right.
Out of the gate, you know, there's an interest. And, you know, part of that's because of where we come from, and hopefully part of that's because we wrote a quality record.
Right. And, you know, and it's also not only is where you came from, because it's also because you guys are who you are, man. I mean, you've worked your butt off to be where you are today. You know, Scott Stapp worked his butt, Bumblefoot, everybody, all you guys. It's not just who you are, it's how you worked over the years to make the names that you have for yourself. So you guys kind of earned that step up. You know what I'm saying? You deserve that step up because you've been doing it for years, man.
Yeah. You hope the dudes that get paid transfer from one band to another, but they don't always, brother.
Oh, I hear you, man. I hear you, but you know they should. You know, I mean, they should. You know, because you guys have devoted your lives to this, man. You know, and actually, that's a coworker and I were having this conversation a little earlier today about how bands make money, and I said, from what I'm learning, it's touring and merch, because that's really the only place they can get it now.
Yeah, primarily. Yeah, because, you know, record sales, you know, don't really, you know, everyone just does Spotify or Pandora. So, you know, there's that. And then, you know, those outlets that offer, you know, subscription-based, you know, music, they don't necessarily pay. They don't pay all that great.
Right.
You know, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's like, well, how do you make money? You know, and then that's pretty much it. You know, you make money on the road, and merch, and you know that's kind of it. Unless you have a runaway smash single, but even you know the Taylor Swifts of the world, and they have these huge hit songs, aren't making the money that they could be making 10 or 15 years ago.
Right.
You know, so yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's almost like the songs are an advertisement for the show.
Dude, that's like a light bulb moment. I've never heard it used like that, and that makes sense, man. That totally was just like, that glass breaking, like, holy shit, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, it's not like the songs are a product anymore. They're just they're the jingle to bring everybody to the show.
They're a 3 to 4 minute commercial. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man. That's very interesting. Well, man, we're going to let you get on about your day, get rehearsed up for this month-long tour you got about to do. The Madness out everywhere. You can get it pretty much everywhere you can buy music, correct?
Yep. Sure
right.
Can.
All the social medias, Art of Anarchy, hit you guys up.
The best place to buy the record is at our show.
Absolutely. Right on, man. Right on. Well, John, I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking with me today. And, man, you guys have a good tour, and I hope to see you guys near or around Kansas City very soon.
Thank you, Ace. I hope so.
All right, bud. Have a good day, sir.
You too.
Bye.